So do you want to take a shot, a reference shot of that? Did I change it enough?
No, I think when we set it up, you can just put the V-flats in the same place. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now what I want to do is take it one further. Do we have Katie? I'm going to swap Macy with Katie because she's in a dark outfit, and I'm going to show you why. So if you go that way, Macy. Felix, can you bend this around?
Yeah, sure.
In terms of being a studio photographer, I worked in a studio in the early 90s with polyboards, meaning polystyrene boards, and I love polyboards. They're the best invention ever. In the movie industry, of course, they're called bead walling.
What are they called?
Polystyrene.
No, but what are they called in the movie industry?
Bead wall.
Bead wall.
Bead wall.
Bead wall. Oh, yeah, okay.
And so one of the most interesting things about V-flats is I never shot on a V-flat until I came to CreativeLive, although I've always used gator foam, or foam core, it's called, a gator foam in New Zealand, as a reflector, a short one. So my little reflector was always foam core, but my big reflectors were polystyrene because they have the best little beads of reflected light, like millions of little spheres of light, which I think is absolutely beautiful. But one thing that really struck me when I came to CreativeLive was I was trying to show you how to shoot on the cheap, natural light, no expensive backgrounds. And I opened up the black V-flat and I started to shoot natural light on it. And there's something about the black foam core when it's photographed that just makes you cry with joy. Makes me cry with joy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Katie, come in this way, Katie. And Katie's going to come and stand in here. And as you can see, this is my lighting setup. I've got a black V-flat side on to the window. I've got the same sort of rectangle coming in. Now, I'll take whatever light I can get. If it's a low window, I'll take it. If it's a high window, I'll take it. I'll just have to bounce differently. Okay, but I need Katie's face to look flat and light, and it is perfect right now. So I'll show you this, and then I'll take that V-flat away and show you what it really looks like. So just chin forward a little bit, Katie, and a little baby smile. Okay, I'm just going to change my exposure. And I'm at now 640 at 2.8. I'm going to shoot a stop under because you have to, because she's on a black background. A little wee bit more of a smile. Good girl. Okay, now she's got an even light source going right around her face right now.
Oh my God.
I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Now take this away, Felix. Take it back there.
I'm stunned.
Okay, now, dark room on this side. Katie's standing in the same spot. Little wee baby smile, Katie. Good girl. Now that's how much light that V-flat is giving me.
Oh my God.
All right, now, it's okay to bring in contrast, but not like that on the face, and especially not with glamour or beauty images, because you end up retouching shadows. Now, I do not remove bags and wrinkles. I remove the shadows underneath them, right? That's what, it's exacerbated by light. So the whole point is that I have two options here. One is, if I don't have a reflector, come this side, Felix, so you're out of her light. Turn this way towards me, Katie, and just kick this hand back, so that's a go. Now bring your chin into the light like this and look down. Okay, I can bring her face, if I had to shoot in this, I'm gonna turn her towards the light because I want her face to be in that light. Like, I want the shadow on her face to fall in the right spot. But anybody older than Katie, and that's not gonna fly. So without a big reflector, we bring in a small reflector. Okay, go straight to me, Katie, and just kick her hip out. That's it. And this arm goes back a little, like around, good girl, and long chin towards me. So whenever I have an assistant too, by the way, this is something that I always do. You know, when somebody's holding a reflector and you go like this, and I always go, drop it. Like, drop it. Now I do, I'm like, drop it. And then I go like this and I find it, there it is, it's right there. And then they hold it. You know, you've got to work the light, right? Yeah. So without the big reflector, which is putting lots of light into the image, I'll take the shot again. Okay, chin back this way, Katie. Back to me, no, back to me, sorry. And a little baby smile there, good girl. Our exposure is still perfect. And we are now sitting at, I'm still at 2.8. See that baby reflector? It's just bounced in. So if you look at the shot before, can we do that, Nico? Sorry, the one before that. Yeah, see that shadow?
I would like to actually shoot a reference for this, just using my magic.
Okay, so one day at a seminar, I was talking about Rembrandt lighting, but I said Picasso lighting because I was nervous and I hadn't spoken to a large crowd of people. And this guy came up to me afterwards and he goes, "You said Picasso lighting, and I think you meant Rembrandt?" And I had one of those moments where I was like, I could have gone, well, duh, like that's how I'm sorry about that. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, dude, it is Picasso. It's all like, and then I thought afterwards, I should have just come clean. So I'm coming clean. But, you know, we're taught to light the face and put the shadow there and put the shadow there and put the shadow there. Well, you look at a beauty magazine and you will find just about everybody lit like a beauty dish, soft, flat light. And all I know is in terms of retouching and selling images to women, that flies 100% better. Okay, so as I bring in the contrast, I'm going to show you where it's applicable, but right now it's not. Right now I just want this beauty light. Now I'm going to bring back, you want to take a reference?
Yeah, I want to take I have a beautiful...
Sue, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So there's some basic questions coming in about window light in general. Little West Side wanted to know how important is it where the windows are placed. M. Cooper Photography wanted to know this window particularly, which direction it's facing. And people are just kind of asking, you know, does it matter which...
Okay, it's like the ottoman question. How big is your ottoman? Do you know how many people email me that? How big is it? Big enough for a woman to lie on. I don't know, ottomans don't come in a standard size. I buy one in every city I go to. You know, what direction are you standing in? I don't know. Okay, wait a minute. I have this unnerving sense of direction. I'm going to say we are northeast? North?
Pretty close, yeah. This is
South Lake?
east, that's south, north, south, east.
Okay, so we're northeast or?
Yeah, if the window's from the east, but it's
I
Seattle.
take whatever's shining through the window. And I don't know when. What I do is I measure the light in a studio. When I get a studio, I measure when it's at its best. That's my shooting time. Okay, so Felix is going to eliminate that because he'll be like, well, now you can shoot any time, any weather, any day. But the truth is I have to take what I get. So I never look at direction of light. I don't, and people ask me questions like, is the light different in New Zealand, north facing as it is in, I'm like, I don't know. I shoot all around the world. It shines through the window. I grab a white board and I reflect it back.
It's the same sun everywhere.
Yeah, so, okay.
All right, let's do a reference of this. Sorry, Katie.
Stay there, Katie.
Lovely. And then Katie, just join me over here and we'll do a blank one. Thank you. And you can see on there just what that reflector is doing is just pushing some of that light back on her.
Nice and soft.
Nice and soft.
Okay, so we take that out, we put Katie back in. Now I want to put the white V-flat back there because I want to show you something. Now I'm going to use the black Beauty Soft Light and I'm going to hit the backdrop as well. So I'm going to open the white V-flat and make a white shell. So I call them shells because it's like shell. I create like a half shell. And this time, all the way around, that's it, stop. Now what I'm doing is I'm not only reflecting light back to Katie, I'm reflecting light to the V-flat. And this is really beautiful. So I've been creating images with this soft light on the back that I think is so gorgeous. So Katie, turn this way and just actually hold your elbows, that's a girl, and just drop back into your shoulders and long chin towards me. Can you just scooch this way a little bit so you're in the middle? That's a girl. And now just open your shoulders up to me just a little bit more. Okay, so here I've got light hitting her face. I've got light coming in from here. I've got, you know, a good meter and 1.2 wide of light. I've got this black polyboard. I want a long chin towards me, good girl. And what I'm gonna do, is I'm just going to meter to her eye, same setting, but what's happening is my shutter speed is slowing down. Okay, so 2.8, 640, I'm staying here, and a little baby smile, Katie, good girl. And I'm slowly going to pick up that background. And when I pick up the background, I can increase the light when I'm edit. Okay, so I can put that light into there and see how it's picking it up, and it's almost like a navy blue. And it is so pretty. From now, I want you to open your shoulders up to me. That's a go. No, hold your hands here. Just open your shoulders up and just push your chin towards me. Good girl. Stay there. Okay, so now I'm just going to bump it up one more notch, chin up.
On your exposure?
Yeah. Still under. I'm still under on my internal meter. And I just want to pick up that background color, because to me, it's what's so beautiful about this.
So you just went from 1/100th of a second to 1/80th of a second. That's it. Okay.
All right,
Wow.
so I've got this beautiful soft light, and now I know how to work that. Now let's put more contrast into this image. So all I have to do is put a black shell and bring the half reflector back. So give me, I don't want a full black, I just want that. Okay, so that's enough to draw light away. Look at Katie's face now. Look how much light's hitting her face. It's dark. Let's take a shot. And now I want the half reflector. And it's right there. Okay, so now I'm putting more contrast in. So I'm going to shoot this nice and low. And then she's going to have more dark on her face, but not enough for it to be like the first image. Now that's how much shadow should be on her face. Okay, for a beauty image, for a glamour image, for a portrait image, for any image of women, that's what should be there. And that's just enough to give her a beautiful shape to her face, and it just looks perfect. Right, so now what I do is I pretty much grab a third V-flat. Okay, so all I'm doing is just eliminating and eliminating and eliminating light.
Where do you want it?
Right here. My third V-flat is right here. And now I've just made that window smaller. And this afternoon, I'm going to make it maybe 12 inches wide and shoot a slit of light. Okay, just a slither. And now, if I look at Katie now and I take a photo of Katie, no, drop that down, John, with no reflector, sorry, I did a blink. That's where she is, right there. So if you have a look, there it is. So I bring the reflector back. Not a lot is changing, but for my final image, it's going to be quite significant, because now there's no light on the backdrop, and it's going to be really, really obvious what I've done.
And there's no light on the backdrop just because you've cut out some of it.
Yes, no, because I didn't put the reflector on the backdrop.
Right. Oh, because you had that as a white shell.
So I had a white shell which was reflecting light. The reason I have the V open on this side is to reflect light back at the backdrop. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get her face more into the light. There it is. Hold your elbows again, that's it, and just hand underneath though, swap over. That's a girl. On your stomach would be good, just on your hip, that's it. Long chin towards me, Katie, that's the one. And I'm still shooting one stop under. I've got a nice contrast image, black background, beautiful. Now, I feel like there's still a lot of light on her, and that there is actually brighter than my camera. So it does look like there's a lot of light. So I'm going to just cut it down a little bit more. Lean back a little bit, Katie. Okay, and I just drop my exposure to 2 stops under to just hold back the light that I'm capturing on her face.
And you did that by just changing your shutter speed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the weird thing is everybody always says about my work, it looks really paintedly. And the idea is I don't paintedly do anything to it other than alien skin. Like what I capture is at 2.8 because I love that drop away because I think it does look really magical. And I feel like it's if you keep that f-stop and just go slower and slower. With a higher ISO, there's more grain, it looks more filmic. And that's just the style that I learned, and that's my thing.
So people ask you all the...
Actually, we had a question from Iggy. He was wondering if there's a reason why you're shooting at 1/250th at 640 ISO instead of 1/25th and 300 ISO, doesn't that bring noise and grain into it?
That's what I want. I want my digital to look like film. I think my digital looks like film. I shot for 12 years on a Hasselblad medium format camera with film. Everything I created through that period of my career is my favorite work. I do own that camera still, and it's, you know, it's a hassle to shoot film, and I am very pro-digital. I believe in the evolution of all photography. I like high ISO, I like grain, I like noise in my image, and I like my digital to look more like film. Sharpness is not my priority. It never has been. I'm not interested in it. And what I'm interested in is gutsy, filmic looking portraits. And so I definitely push up and I shoot on 640 at 2.8, and then I adjust. If I'm in very bright light and I can't shoot wide open, I have a little bit of a secret. I shoot on a 9-stop density filter. I take the density down in order to stay wide open. It bumps all my highlights down, gives me that flat look, which gives me this beautiful form of light, which I love. I'm very rarely in that situation where I want to shoot at 2.8 and I can't because there's too much light, but it does happen.
We're going to do that this afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Felix, when he set up the lights, he put my neutral density filter on because he couldn't get below 5.6 because the lights were so bright.
That's going to be one of the challenges, getting down to 2.8. But we want to keep that soft background that you get, you know, from your shallow depth of field.
So that's something that natural light photographers can't do, is get their light source down.
Now, and Sue, when you're shooting this with a little bit lower amount of light than usual, would you shoot any differently if the model had darker hair than Katie does?
I don't, actually, because the reflector picks up enough in the dark hair. I do tend to not cut down the light so much if they have black hair, because it does, but then I love shooting dark skin on dark backgrounds because it's so beautiful. But yeah, no, I don't really make a lot of allowances for dark hair at all. All right, so now what I want to do...
Can I do a reference for this?
Yeah, we changed it.
Let me just grab my...
Can we just keep it close?
Yeah, it's it's right there. Could you just hand that to me? Thank you. It's a bit more elegant than holding it, and then I don't block the light either if it's on a stand.
Can we just keep it like jacked up and ready to go instead of having to wind it up every single time?
There you go, Katie. If you just stand...
No,
sorry, stay with
there.
it. Yeah. And then Katie, join me over here. Thank you. These are just for me to cheat, basically, later. Okay, good.
All right.
Thank you.
So now what I'm going to do is I really want that bar stool.
Okay.
Yeah. So I need that bar stool. So Caitlin, you might need to come in and just hold the scrim. And I need an apple box, because I just want to show you how to open up some light.
You're trying to get her on it?
Yeah. So there's two more looks that I want to achieve right now. One of them is more of a like fashion background style look that I try to give all of my clients, because I want them to experience what it's like to look like they're in a magazine. So I try and make it look as fashion as I can. And I learned that the lighting in fashion lighting is pretty variable. It's, you know, everybody's got a different style. But what I learned was it was really about the posing and how they were posed and where I shot. So fashion models are tall and lean, and they're often shot quite low. We never shoot down on fashion models. That's a normal human being gets shot down on. A fashion model gets shot up too, and because they've got lean bodies and they look fabulous and you can shoot on any angle. So what I would try and do then is just create more of a flat beauty dish light and then pose them more fashion. So I'm not going to change the light source here. All I'm going to do is open this up a little bit, maybe let in just a little bit more light. She's got a really good black shell. It would be easier if you came forward, Katie. That's it. And as you can see now, let's just take a photo of Katie's face in the light. Okay, I haven't put a reflector in there, so she's just right on the edge of that light. So she is sitting from this side, if you can see on this camera, she's sitting almost out of the shell. And then what I'm going to do is turn her this way, and I'm going to get her to put her right foot up on there. That's it, not her left. Okay, you're just going to have to let your left foot hang right up onto your toe, Katie. And then I want you to lean forward with this elbow, that's a girl, and then put this one here. All right, so I'm gonna try and create more of a fashion style pose, just so I can show you this light. Then what I'm gonna do is, like most people, and Katie's not a professional model, she's sitting really good posture. So I'm gonna get you to push back here so you've got more model posture, like that's it. More. Okay, now in this shot, I've got her exactly how I had her standing. I've just brought her forward a little bit more. I've opened up my light source. John can come in and give me a reflected light. Beautiful. Katie looks amazing. And I just want to do this shot like this. Okay. And maybe give me, this hand's too obvious for me. Let's put it down. That's a go, and work your shoulder. That's it, push your chin towards me, Katie. Okay, I'm gonna go with, and slight tip this way. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change that to white, just pop in a little bit of a backdrop.
One full open or just a half?
Push right back, John.
Back towards the backdrop?
Yeah, that's it. That's enough. Nice big open shell. I've got a white light, which means the background is now picking up light. Okay, so first thing that's going to happen is I need you, John, just on her face, is I'm going to shoot that there. And it's changed it, it'll change it quite. See that blue coming in the background? When I put my raw images, when I process my raw images, I'm going to bring that light forward. So I've gone from a black, darker.
Bring out your shadows?
Yes,
Yeah.
always. And also what I want to do is see the triangles that I've created under her arm in the pose. So if you go back to the main camera of Katie, at the moment that on the screen looks like she's just white skin floating on a black background, but there's triangles in her body. And we've created triangles here, push back through there, Katie. We've created gaps here. We've created gaps that make posing look really good. So I want to try and create that. So that flat light for me is pretty much everything. If I can work in this area. And what I love about being in a natural light studio is if you're being photographed with friends, they're often there getting their hair and makeup done. She's very secure in her shell. I found when I started to put polystyrene boards and V-flats around my models or clients, they instantly feel safe. You enclose them into the walls. There are a few hassles with the V-flats. One of them is sometimes moving them on your own. You look like an idiot because you swing one that way, it swings that way, you juggle with it, hits you in the head. They do fall, so sometimes, you know, somebody will, and I've had V-flats fall towards a client and they scream. They're like, ah! But they don't just put their hand out, you know, it's like, it's gonna hit me, it's gonna hit me. It's just such an interesting way to work. But my ultimate studio would have one window, one reflector, one black V-flat that goes to white, a bar stool and an apple box.
That's one of the big secrets on big fashion sets as well. We always block it off. So because you have this huge studio and no one wants to sit with the entire crew watching them. So you just we're always creating these boxes that we put the subjects in.
That's interesting because you know what? I feel like I've been shooting for 25 years and I shoot in front of you guys and there's people watching and it's kind of weird. But when I'm shooting a proper shoot, I don't want people watching me.
Yeah.
Like, you know when you're in that zone and you're just like trying to make it work? You're trying to connect with your client. You take the photo, it's not working. You're wondering what you're doing wrong. You're trying to remember your default poses.
And then if you still have to think about everyone else watching, that it's just, you just want to stay in that moment. Yeah.
And all I want is for everyone to look away. Just look away right now. And it's so subtle. I went to a wedding, a friend's wedding, and I photographed it. And I watched the hairstylist spend an hour and a half on the bride's hair, and it was starting to get to that uncomfortable point where you're holding up everybody, the ceremony, the photographer. And I looked at the hairdresser and she was doing a remarkable job, but she was taking too long. And I looked at her and I just saw this internal panic. And she wasn't showing anything, but I know that feeling so well of shooting with people watching and it's not working and oh my God. And I could see it and I just said to all of the bridesmaids and the mother, can I speak to everybody in the bedroom? We're going to take some bridesmaid shots. And I pulled them out and I was like, we all just hid in the bedroom for 20 minutes and let her finish because the pressure that was on her was unbelievable. I feel like that's how I could identify it in her because I know what it feels like. I've seen people do it when they're shooting. Put a shell around you, put one around you at there so people can't see you. And they don't have to watch you. And I am not afraid of, if you want to watch, I'll say, can you just sit down for a bit? I'll call you when I'm ready. I'm just doing some tests because I'm really just finding my groove.
Sometimes I'm shooting and the subject suddenly gets uncomfortable. I'm like, what happened? And I look around and there's 100 people watching. You go, all right, everyone, clear the set. Off you go. Thank you. And then we can work back with our relaxed subject.